Hey, this is NotebookLM by Google. I've heard of it. I had heard of it, but never used it until yesterday. Yesterday, ChatGPT was bugging. I had a call with a prospective client, and normally I'm using ChatGPT to help me go through what the client talked about over an hour, discussing exactly what's going to be done about the proposal, looking at a long-term project, a whole bunch of stuff, but it was absolutely bugging and it was pissing me off royally. So Notebook LM came to mind, and I actually used it to help me do what I was trying to do in ChatGPT. And then I came across this section of it, which is basically AI, the creation of basically a podcast episode. It's two people, they're not people, two AI having a conversation about whatever's been put into Notebook LM. So when I was going through this yesterday for the client, and I clicked over here, it ended up being a conversation about the conversation I'd been having with the client and talking about it. And it's just absolutely wild. But I started to think, okay, how can I actually then turn this into a veritable podcast? How would I do that? And so the first thing that I thought was, okay, if they're talking about whatever's being given as sources, the first thing I did was give it I pasted in the text for my website. And then there was an article, because lately, New Year, I've been going through certain evolutions. And there was an article which I'd written, which was explaining this evolution. So I put these two things in there. And the other thing that I did, which you can't see here now, but before we get to this part of being able to play the audio, it allows you to customize the audio. So what I told it to do was, because what was happening is when I did it the first time, it was referring to me by my surname. So it would mention my first name and my last name in the beginning, but then afterwards it would just talk about me using my last name. So I'm thinking about something else that I want to share with you. So what I did is that I customized to say, only ever refer to Kase Dean as Kase Dean or Case. Those are the customizations. Now, hopefully this works well, but once generating, there's a button called generate. Once generated, and it took about maybe 5 minutes or so, this is what I got.
All right, so today we're going to take a deep dive into the work of Kase Dean.
Okay.
He's a guy who's all about helping businesses scale, but not just any kind of scaling, right? We're talking about sustainable growth.
Yeah.
The kind that doesn't burn you out or leave you constantly chasing trends.
Yeah.
We've got two sources to guide us through this. Kase's own website and a really insightful article that I found that digs into his commercial direction philosophy.
Yeah. You know what I found really interesting about his website?
Okay.
Is that it doesn't shy away from kind of the struggles that businesses face. It talks about
How freaking insane is that? So what I then decided to do was turn it into a freaking podcast. I've thrown up some graphics. I've got a cover. It's been put through the script. And now it's
Dive into the work of Kase Dean.
okay.
He's a guy who's all about helping businesses scale, but not just any kind of scaling, right?
Yeah.
We're talking about sustainable growth.
and it's been posted on to LinkedIn as well. I'm trying it there. So it's been posted down. I've got ChatGPT to help me with a LinkedIn post about the episode. I haven't got ChatGPT. I'm not too sure if I'll be able to find it. Not too sure how I would find it actually. Let me just see. Description. Basically, I made a description for the podcast itself. So what I'm now thinking about is, I've spoken to my son about this yesterday. So and this is not about, people get weird about AI, talk about it like it's somehow cheating, but somebody I'm following, Diane Laidlaw, an absolutely amazing creative being on just so many levels. She posted something, reposted something from somebody which said, AI is not artificial intelligence, it's augmented intelligence. And I've always said from the beginning that AI is absolutely useless to you if you are not a knowledge matter expert. So even when I'm watching Diane do her work around AI videos and AI music, if you don't already know how to make music without AI, it's going to be next to impossible, as far as I'm concerned, to do it properly. Same thing for the videos that she does. She obviously has an eye for photography, videography, all that kind of good stuff. And then obviously to be then creating video storytelling. So there's got to be a person maybe writing poems or has written short stories or whatever it might be, right? But you have to be a knowledge matter expert. But when it comes down to the augmentation of intelligence and what it can allow us to do, because I listened to a radio show on LBC, I was listening to a conversation about this and people worrying about creativity being lost. But when I got into the situation where ChatGPT wasn't allowing me to do something, we can say, yeah, I could have sat down and I could have just gone through it myself, but it led me to Google NotebookLM, and then all of this has been created, and it's going to provide help to people because it's basically talking about the work that I do. So I spoke to my son about this yesterday, and he's going through A-levels at the moment. He's got to do massive projects and stuff like that. He's in mechanical engineering, so he's got this massive project that I know the final product is going to be a PDF. And regardless of whether that was a PDF or whether or not it was a Word file of all of whatever he's done as work, he sticks that into NotebookLM, hits generate. We just go back over here, hits generate and comes up with audio. He's going to listen to two people talking about his work. He's going to learn more about his work. It's going to help ideas pop off in his brain about his work. And then check this out. Down here, if I click interactive mode, I hope this works because I'm going to be, anyway, if I click tap interactive mode, hope this works. Maybe I'm just doing too much on the computer at once. Yeah, maybe it's not going to work. Anyway, let me just come out of there. What can happen with interactive mode, which is just mind-blowing, is that those two AI who are having that conversation, you can actually interact with them and ask them questions. They'll answer you in real time like it becomes a three-way conversation. Mind-blowing. If I think about my son putting his work in there and having a conversation with these two AI about it, how could it be improved? What do you think about that? What do you think's missing? Whatever it is, it's almost like he's got his own little study group. Then down here, there's a study guide. I haven't clicked on for this before, but it's going to generate a study guide about, it's going to be about me or about Kase Dean. Let's just say it like that. I'm not a third person speaking person, whatever. But it's going to create this study guide. And I did it for the very first one I did about my client. So if we click on study guide, what led Kase Dean to specializing commercial direction rather than traditional marketing consulting or fractional CMO services? Answer key. Kase Dean chose to specialize in commercial direction because he realized that his strength lies in connecting the dots between sales, marketing, operations to generate revenue. This allows him to create a broader business impact than traditional marketing approaches. The next thing, essay question, analyze the benefits and challenges of adopting a commercial direction approach for a rapidly growing startup compared to a well-established larger corporation. I'm looking at right now, real time thinking about it, that becomes a blog post, right? That becomes a, not webinar, I don't really like webinar, but maybe it's like a training video. That could be used for that. Can become another podcast episode. So what I'm going to be looking at now is, or what I'm going to be investigating next is whether or not this could be used to create a course. So if I think about the sources, stick the sources, whatever it is I'm using the source or source material in there, there's going to be two people talking about them. I get to customize them in a certain way that gets them to talk in a certain way. If you have a course and the first part is that, the next part is me talking about that, and then the third part is the action that is going to be taken by the student of whatever they're going to be filling out. This to me, and then afterwards we've got this buddy guide bit down here with question and answers, which could then be used to create like a quiz afterwards. And then if you wanted to then say, okay, for further work on this, you could analyze, you could in your teams discuss the role of, I think, pretty impressive. So yeah, cool. I just wanted to share that with you. I'll leave a link to the full episode so you can listen to that, because it's actually really, you can make things like this and think, I'm so cool, but I think it's so cool. Like, just what is possible is so cool, one. And then two, it's just another way to get across the message or whatever it is that you're trying to disseminate in the world around you. I just think this is another way of doing it, especially for people like me who do rely on textual content, knowledge content, workshops, courses, that kind of stuff. But yeah, I hope that was useful. I hope you found it interesting, and yeah, catch you next time.